Hi everyone, my name is Steph, this is the Novelty Corner and welcome back to my channel and welcome to my February top 5 wrap up. This is where I wrap up the month with a few stats plus the top 5 books that I read throughout the month, because you've heard me talk about all of these books over the last couple of weeks. This is one place just to showcase the top 5 that made it through to the end of the month as books that I was constantly thinking about, and this month we had to dip into Kid Lit because I only had 3 adult titles that really made this top list. So while I was reading good things, there were not things that really stood out in my mind. So we are dipping in and out of the different readership categories that I pick up throughout the month. If you're unfamiliar with my channel or how I do these wrap-ups, I don't include any of my rereads, in which case this list would be full of rereads, to be honest. And it would also be full of kids' books. So I do generally try to keep it to my adult titles because that's the focus of this channel, whereas Kid Lit Joy is where I talk about kids' books. But if I need to prop up the list, I absolutely will, because Kid Lit is awesome. All right, so in February, I read 60 books and I have 2 books carrying over with me into March. One of them is still carrying over from January. It is a book that I'm reading for work. So that makes total sense that I'm very, very slow at reading that at the moment, and also an audiobook that I am carrying over from the end of February. I read a total of 9,508 pages. I had 2 DNFs this month. I thought there were more, but clearly not. This has not been my year for DNFs yet. My most read genre this month was actually fiction titles, and that's because I had a lot of kidlit picture books, middle fiction that I was reading, and they tend to fit in the general fiction category. I saved $110.96 via using my library and $19.61 via Kindle Unlimited. I also had 9 videos that came out this month, which is not bad for me, considering there are a couple of weeks where I just get inundated. I've had really busy weekends, which is when I tend to film, so I haven't been as super consistent in the second half of the month. I'm still putting out content though, so that does help. There were 4 book steep videos. This is my weekly wrap-up series. You had my Bride Hunt reading vlog, the January top 5 wrap-up. We had the first Aussie romance spotlight featuring Patrick Lenton and his debut romance book, the February Buzzword reading vlog, and also my Book Fair Australia book event haul. It's been an eventful 28 days. Is all I can say. Jumping into the top 5 books, these books are ranked and I go from 5th to 1st. In 5th place we have Bravepaw and the Fangstone of Flintfall by L.M. Wilkinson. This is a junior fiction fantasy series, or fantasy book. It's the 3rd book in the series. It is one of my all-time favourite junior fiction series and one of my all-time fantasy series. It is about a young mouse called Titch who is charged with saving the world. She must take on the mantle of Bravepaw, who is a hero, but it's actually a title that's passed down to people who step up in times of need. And at the moment that's Titch, and she is constantly questioning her courage, her worth, her ability to do the job that she has been tasked with. She's supported by some really great friends and allies she's made along the way. And in book 3, she not only visits a magic library to find out more information, because she is collecting a series of gems that complete the staff that is going to help her be able to fight back the darkness that is overtaking her world, but she also finds herself in a new place. She is not perfect. She makes mistakes all the time. She wants to believe in the best of people, and sometimes this does cause her some difficulty. It's about her stepping up. It's about her self-belief and her courage in taking risks when it matters most. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous series. I've read books 1 and 2 to kids in the past. I'm currently reading book 1 with my current class. They adore it. Even the kids who are like, no, I'm not going to be interested in that, are now sitting on the floor listening to me read it. So it's wonderful. It is by an amazing Australian author. Highly recommend. Then we have Good Young Men by Gary Lonesborough, which is his most recent release. It actually comes out this week when this video goes live. And it is a young adult story about 3 Aboriginal teens who are dealing with the aftermath of an Aboriginal teen being killed by a white cop. They're all at different places in their life. One of them wasn't even in town when this shooting happened. One of them was in the room when it happened, and all of them knew this boy. In this book, we get 3 parts. Each part is from the perspective of another character. We're not chopping and changing between character perspectives. We literally go from one character in one section to the next as the story builds. It is them watching the community prepare for the trial of this cop. It is the trial. One of the boys has to testify, and it's about the pressure that is placed on him in order to lie on the stand. He's also making a short film about how he has processed and his response to the entire situation. We have 2 boys who are queer, finding comfort in one another. It is a truly amazing, hard-hitting book. It is very confronting, and I wish I could say that the outcome was positive for the overarching plot, but we all know that that would not be realistic in this day and age, which is horrifying. It is absolutely horrifying. And Gary Lonesborough is just an incredible writer, and the way that these characters leap off the page and they tell stories in a way that showcase that these characters have hope, even in the face of really difficult odds. There are a lot of content warnings for this one though. There is a off-the-page attack driven by homophobia and catfishing. There is obviously the death of the boy and the trial and racism that comes with that trial and just general racism. So be mindful if you do pick it up, but it is incredible. Then I read Drag Me Home Again by J.E. Joyce. This was a short story and it is set in Slaybell Springs, which is a shared author universe. This is a second chance later in life queer romance between Miles and Mason. Mason has stayed in town his entire life. He's taken over a bar. He's turned it into a drag bar. He's the headline act and he goes by May North. And Miles is returning after 20 years and has to talk to and convince Mason that he's back in town, that he is here for good. He is making amends for leaving suddenly and abruptly when he was a teen and for not staying in contact. And both of these men are processing sort of their lives, their history, what they want from each other moving forward. And it is set against a really cool drag scene in this town. The entire town is just delightful and adorable. And I loved it so much. It was just really uplifting. It was a really uplifting book. So highly recommend. Then there is The Wild Card by Stephanie Archer. This is the 4th or 5th book in the Vancouver Storm series. Yeah, it's the 5th book. I really need series numbers to be on titles and covers. This follows a single dad who is also the coach of the Vancouver Storm and the daughter of the owner of the team, who is kind of being politely blackmailed by her father into taking an interest in the team because he wants her to run it. And it's really fun. There's a lot of snarky banter. There is, really great representation of a parent trying to be the best kind of parent they can for their kids. A woman who is trying to carve out her own place, has not wanted to be in the shadow and be perceived as just getting things because she is the daughter of someone who has a lot of influence, but she also has a lot of friends on the team, both the players and their partners, and so she is strongly connected to it and she knows a lot. And once she throws herself into working for the team, she is incredible at it. Even though they both butt heads, there is a mutual attraction there. It is an age gap romance as well. Stephanie Archer is probably writing my favourite contemporary MF hockey romance at the moment, so I really enjoyed this. And then my favourite book of the month was No One Is Safe by Ellie Marney, or is No One Is Safe by Ellie Marney. I do need to reread this. It was an Amazon First Reads book in February. It has come out on the 1st of March. This is an adult thriller set in 1980s New York City. For context, it is a spin-off of a YA trilogy that Ellie Marney has written, but you do not have to have read that in order to be able to read this. It's great if you want greater context around one of our main characters, but this is its own thing. And we are following two characters, Simon, who is a man who cannot remember who he is. And he has come to New York to try and figure out that, because that is the only piece of information, aside from his first name, that he has been able to figure out. And then you have Nomi, who is a former police officer turned private investigator who is kind of living paycheck to paycheck. We know that she's had run-ins with her superiors in the police force, and she's kind of just taking cases that she can get. And in this case, she is investigating the kidnapping of the daughter of a sex worker who is involved with basically the mob. Nomi and Simon live in the same building, and that's how their paths cross. And Simon can't help himself but intervene when he sees things that are not right. And he has some really crazy skills that he doesn't know how he's acquired. And he also has a tendency to display a very cold, distant personality. And as the reader, we know that, well, as a reader, I know that Simon is a serial killer who doesn't remember that he is a serial killer. He lost his memory after falling into a river and being shot, and so he's had a head injury. And throughout the course of this book, he's trying to remember who he is. And he's also then trying to figure out whether he even wants to know who he is. Ellie has pitched this as Dexter meets The Bourne Identity. It definitely feels like that. It is incredibly well written, very fast paced, very invested in the characters, and I cannot wait to see where this series goes. And those are my top 5 books for February. In the comments, I'd love to know, have you read any of them? Are you planning on picking any of them up? Feel free to let me know down below. Otherwise, feel free to share your favorite book from the month. I hope that wherever you're on the world, you're staying safe and healthy, and I'll see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, everyone.